Hi everyone, glad to see you back on the channel. Today we are going to take a serious and thoughtful look at a deeply troubling development that has captured global attention. Reports indicate that the death toll in Iran has risen sharply, following a period of intense unrest, protests, and a heavy-handed security response. This is not just another headline. It is a human tragedy that raises urgent questions about human rights, political stability, and the future of an already tense region. To understand what is happening, we first need to look at the broader background. Iran has been experiencing widespread protests over the past months, driven by a mix of political frustration, economic hardship, and anger over social restrictions. These demonstrations have taken place in cities and towns across the country, involving people from different age groups, social classes, and ethnic backgrounds. What began as localized protests gradually turned into a nationwide movement demanding change. The government's response has been swift and forceful. Security forces, including police, paramilitary units, and intelligence agencies, were deployed in large numbers to suppress the demonstrations. Internet access was restricted in many areas, making it difficult for information to flow in and out of the country. Independent journalists faced intimidation, arrests, and censorship. This created an environment where accurate reporting became extremely challenging. Despite these obstacles, human rights organizations, activists, and some media outlets have been gathering data from eyewitness accounts, hospital records, leaked documents, and social media posts. Based on this information, they report that the number of people killed during the crackdown has risen sharply. Some estimates suggest that thousands may have lost their lives, although the exact figure remains disputed due to limited transparency and official denials. Each of these numbers represents a real person with a family, dreams, and a future that has now been cut short. Many of the victims are believed to be young people, including teenagers and students, who took to the streets to demand basic rights and dignity. Others were bystanders caught in the chaos, or individuals who later died from injuries sustained during clashes. The Iranian authorities have strongly rejected these death toll figures. They argue that the numbers are exaggerated and accuse foreign governments and hostile media of spreading propaganda to destabilize the country. Officials claim that security forces used restraint and that most of the deaths were caused by violent protesters or armed groups. This conflicting narrative has created confusion and mistrust. On one hand, independent groups say they have credible evidence of large-scale killings. On the other hand, the government insists that it is maintaining order and protecting national security. Without full access to independent investigations, it is extremely difficult to verify either side's claims with complete certainty. What we do know is that the situation on the ground has been extremely tense and, at times, violent. Videos shared online show security forces firing tear gas, rubber bullets, and in some cases live ammunition into crowds. Protesters are seen throwing stones, setting fires, and clashing with police. Hospitals reportedly received waves of injured people, overwhelming medical staff. Families of victims face immense pressure and fear. Some have reported being warned not to speak publicly about how their loved ones died. Others say they were forced to sign documents stating that deaths were due to accidents or natural causes. In some cases, families were allegedly told they would not be allowed to hold public funerals. The emotional toll of this crisis is hard to overstate. Parents mourning children, children mourning parents, and communities living in constant fear of raids and arrests. Trauma is spreading through society, leaving deep psychological scars that will not heal easily. The rising death toll has sparked international outrage. Governments around the world have condemned the violence and called on Iran to respect human rights and allow peaceful protests. The United Nations has expressed concern and urged Iranian authorities to cooperate with international human rights mechanisms. Several countries have imposed new sanctions on Iranian officials and institutions linked to the crackdown. These sanctions aim to hold those responsible accountable and to pressure the government into changing its behavior. However, critics argue that sanctions often hurt ordinary citizens more than political elites, worsening economic hardship. Iran's economy was already under severe strain due to long-standing U.S. and international sanctions, high inflation, unemployment, and a weak currency. The unrest and violent response have further damaged investor confidence and disrupted businesses. Shops closed during protests, factories halted production, and tourism declined sharply. As the death toll rises, the risk of further escalation grows. Each new loss of life fuels anger and grief, potentially driving more people to protest. At the same time, the government appears determined to maintain control at all costs, increasing the likelihood of additional clashes. Another important aspect of this crisis is the role of social media and digital communication. Despite internet shutdowns, people have found ways to share videos, photos, and testimonies with the outside world. These images have played a crucial role in shaping global perceptions and mobilizing international solidarity. However, social media also brings challenges. False or misleading information can spread quickly, making it harder to separate fact from rumor. This creates an information battlefield, where both the government and opposition groups try to control the narrative. Inside Iran, the atmosphere is one of fear mixed with quiet defiance. Many people are afraid to speak openly, yet frustration continues to simmer beneath the surface. Some have turned to subtle forms of protest, such as refusing to comply with certain rules, writing slogans on walls, or organizing small, secret gatherings. The government's heavy-handed approach may bring short-term calm, but it risks deepening long-term instability. History shows that suppressing dissent through violence often creates more resentment and resistance over time. Without meaningful reforms and dialogue, the cycle of protest and repression is likely to continue. Another critical issue is the treatment of detainees. Thousands of people have reportedly been arrested during the protests. Human rights groups say many detainees face harsh conditions, lack of access to lawyers, and unfair trials. There are also reports of torture and ill treatment in detention centers. Executions and death sentences have added another layer of fear. Some protesters have reportedly been sentenced to death or long prison terms on charges related to national security. International organizations argue that these trials do not meet basic standards of justice. The rising death toll is not just a domestic issue for Iran. It has major implications for regional and global politics. Iran is a key player in the Middle East, involved in conflicts and power struggles in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen. Internal instability could weaken its influence or push its leaders to adopt more aggressive foreign policies as a distraction. Relations between Iran and Western countries, already strained over the nuclear program and sanctions, have deteriorated further. Diplomatic talks aimed at reviving the nuclear deal have stalled, with both sides accusing each other of bad faith. The human rights situation has become another major obstacle to any diplomatic breakthrough. Russia and China, two of Iran's main international partners, have taken a more cautious approach. While they have criticized foreign interference in Iran's internal affairs, they have also called for stability and restraint. Their support gives Tehran some diplomatic cover, but it does not fully shield it from global criticism. The role of the Iranian diaspora is also significant. Millions of Iranians living abroad have organized protests, lobbied governments, and raised awareness about the situation. These communities play a vital role in keeping international attention focused on human rights abuses. For many ordinary Iranians, daily life has become a struggle. Prices of basic goods continue to rise, jobs are scarce, and uncertainty hangs over the future. The fear of violence and arrest adds another layer of stress to already difficult conditions. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel.